Hi, this is Rhys, and I am here just to talk to you about the little contest we did for all the nice, funny reviews we asked you to leave. And me and Jesse were overwhelmed. I sweat profusely just at the thought of all the wonderful reviews that you sent us. So everyone is a winner. We will send prizes to everyone who did a review. Well done, you. All we need you to do is screenshot your review and then email it to us at canadianpoliticsisboring@gmail.com, so we know it's you, and then we can sort out how we get your prize to you. And it will be a T-shirt, but it won't be a T-shirt you can buy on the merch store. It will be a unique T-shirt that only people who took the time to engage in this contest will get. So, on with the show.
Welcome to Canadian Politics is Boring!
Hello and welcome to Canadian Politics is Boring. I am Rhys, and with me is Jesse.
Hello.
And we have a very special guest. We have Mikaela Gorman, who is a tabloid journalist and also a pop historian. And we were trying to work out what that was, but I'm sorry, historian. You give a really good explanation.
Mikaela, is your last name Gorman?
It is, yes.
Have you seen Psycho Gorman?
I have, and I am so happy. I've actually considered changing the spelling of my name.
It's so good, isn't it?
Beautiful.
It's so good. Anyway, sorry, it's just popped in my head when I heard Gorman.
Well,
I'm like, oh my God, yeah.
That's the thing. With the name Gorman, you don't end up in like pop culture much. We've got Burn Gorman, we've got Psycho Gorman, and we've got that asshole Gorman from Aliens. I'm quite happy to not be called that asshole Gorman
Fair
anymore.
enough. Yeah. Psycho Gorman. Yeah, there's a much nicer ring to it.
There's a British comedian called Dave Gorman who's very funny.
Right. Oh, he's fantastic.
Yeah.
I believe he owes me $5.
So we are here to talk about a character who you've encountered up close.
Unfortunately,
close encounters of the third kind. That would be, I guess, with someone who's an interesting lunatic, I guess.
Oh,
is that a word you would use, or is that like
an interesting lunatic?
Yeah, I'd
lunatic
actually
is a
say
bad word these days.
Lunatic is a bad word, but he definitely is like it would be an insult to the word lunatic to compare this man to other people who have actual mental health issues.
Yeah. He is, I guess, just not nice.
Yes.
Is that a better word?
A not nice man.
A not nice man, exactly. So this is, he's actually changed his name a couple of times, but his name is Jovan Hutton Pulitzer at the moment. Is that right? Am I saying that right?
Commander Jovan Hutton Pulitzer.
Commander.
I've heard some spectacular names in this podcast so far.
There's a lot of names out there.
Thank you, Rhys.
And people keep making new ones. That's a good thing.
So again, I don't even know who this guy is or what he does or anything.
Well,
I'm in the dark.
At the moment, he's the reason we're talking about him because he's back in the news at the moment. And this, I saw a tweet that you put out about this story, and I was like, oh my God, this would make such a good episode. So at the moment, Jovan is working with Donald Trump and with Rudy Giuliani. He is basically helping them build a case of voter fraud based on his amazing experience as
They're still
tech
trying to get that. Is he still trying to get back into the presidency?
Well, at this point, that was as of before January 6th and mostly in December. There is a development on that. They are no longer trying to get into the presidency. They are now trying to not get sued for $2.7 billion.
By who?
Dominion Voting.
The voting machine people, who they said were owned by Venezuelan dictators.
Wow.
Yeah.
Oh, that's why didn't I think that would happen? Oh, wow, yeah.
So he is now appearing. How did they describe him?
Hold on, wait a second. I'm sorry. They have electronic voting machines.
Yeah,
in the States?
So in the
we've got a cardboard box with a strip of paper and a pencil. So it's not even sharp.
Every state gets to decide how you vote. And so, yeah, in some states, you still get the cardboard box and the non-sharp pencil. Like in Canada, I believe Wisconsin does it the Canadian way. But in states that like to show off and especially need to spend a little money, such as Georgia, everyone gets a spanking new electronic machine that comes out of a folding suitcase, like a bulletproof suitcase, and goes.
Please tell me this is true. Please tell me.
Just like it's like RoboCop, but you put a piece of paper in his mouth with your vote on. That's how I imagine it. So Jovan has got an interesting history that has led to him kind of being involved in this. So he's quite famous for inventing this what is it called? QCat.
Yes, the QCat.
Which was like I've actually got a commercial or not a commercial, but this is we've got an AV presentation.
An AV presentation.
So for listeners, you can't see what we're going to see, but we're going to play the audio. So
that's typically how audio works, Rhys.
It is. This is a news item, and it's basically how his invention was released to the world. This is from the 90s, by the way.
Now, covering news that matters to you. This is News 10 at 5. Well, the internet is a great tool for information and shopping, but, weeding through billions of web pages can obviously be overwhelming. Well, now, some new technology could make surfing the internet as easy as doing that, just swiping a barcode. This device is called QCat. It's like a mouse with a built-in laser. If you want to know more about a specific product, you can just do a quick scan of the barcode and it will take you to the company's website.
This is Jovan talking.
Our technology eliminates the need to remember web addresses or write them down.
You can use QCat to scan barcodes on products and even barcodes that are starting to appear in magazine ads and in the newspaper. You can pick up one of these devices at Radio Shack and they're absolutely free. Now, we have a QCat in the newsroom on a computer. We're going to scan right now the barcode on this box of Quaker Instant Oatmeal. You can go ahead and just scan the barcode right there, and we'll see how long it takes to appear on the website, on the computer right there. It takes just a few seconds usually. We've tried this a few times. It takes you to the Quaker Oats website where you can get more information about the product, maybe even a coupon for a few cents off. The QCat, again, is free at Radio Shack, and by the way, it's very easy to connect to your computer. You basically just hook your keyboard into the QCat and the QCat into the computer.
Pretty neat, and it's free, huh? You don't have to remember all of those web addresses, which are difficult to keep in your mind.
Someone who's never heard of bookmarks.
Sweet mercy.
So it was an incredible invention, and it's amazing to think that now we all have that device in our homes because it's so...
Here's the funny thing. There are at least 3 of those in this room right now.
QCats?
Yes.
So you developed the technology further.
You're talking about our cell phones.
Yes, we are. Yeah, we're talking about cell phones. Not
and
only
the
cell phones,
the little square things that whatever they.
Yep, exactly.
Yeah.
So while the
QR
QCat,
codes,
exactly. So while the QCat itself horribly failed for various reasons that I can definitely get into.
I'd actually like to, because it's not a bad idea for the 90s, right? Like the internet's here. It's all like everyone's like, ooh, the internet. But I could also at the same time, okay, so not everyone had a computer. Not everyone who had a computer had the internet. Not everyone who had the internet knew what the fuck to do with the internet. So I could see why it would fail even when it was free.
Exactly. So its primary source, or its primary use was to take you from a barcode, any kind of barcode, directly to a URL. And it's not just like, it takes you to like Ford.com or something. It takes you to the direct product that you are trying to purchase online. And this was at a time when
it's not a bad idea.
No, it's not a bad idea. It's just kind of like ahead of its time with technology behind the time. So the character that we were talking about, Jovan Hutton Pulitzer.
Actually, it's not a bad concept, but thinking about the use of it, who the fuck would use it and why? Like, okay, I want to learn more about my Quaker fucking oats. Let's bring that to the computer where the QR code is. Sit down, turn on the computer. That's a good 5 minutes. Okay, to make sure the kids aren't screaming. Is everyone off the phone? Yeah, you guys are off the phone? Okay, the modem's on. Hold on, I got to dial into the fucking modem now.
I need the phone line for the next 24 hours to download one song.
Right, yeah, exactly. Right. I was like, okay, now, bring the oatmeal over, scan it, brings it to, it's like, what? Like, what is it going to tell me that I don't already know that's on the box of oatmeal? Like, it's not like I can pay for it and have it shipped to my house. That would have been nice and convenient.
Right.
Didn't exist. Well, I don't want to just sit around and learn about the products in my house.
So the real thing would be,
I've taken a complete 180 on this.
Absolutely.
Yeah, I was like, this is a good idea. What am I talking about? No, it's not.
We just witnessed Jesse go on a journey.
It was something to witness, and thank you for that. So the idea, like one foot in the past, one foot in the future, is you would take that physical coupon or physical catalog that they had the video, and you would choose the thing you want to buy, and it would make a list.
They had a catalog of items.
And this was it was supposed to be a big thing for taking RadioShack.com from being just a catalog to actually being able to buy things online.
Okay. All right.
It helped collapse Radio Shack.
What? How?
Oh, because this was
became the source?
Yeah, this was $185 million boondoggle.
Okay.
So, so first of all, it does actually make someone money. As I said, there are three of them in this room.
Having the catalog in, and then you could just bring it up like, oh, I want that. Boom, it's there. You can buy it, and they would maybe ship it to you. I don't know
exactly.
It's in the 90s. It's certainly not Amazon.
But the patent that is held for it is the same thing that activates QR
Am I doing
codes.
Another 180 on this product that I just started?
You probably are. Yeah.
So does Jovan still get like?
He is going to be rich for the rest of his life because he will always make money off of that basic scan patent that goes into every scan patent now.
So he does
what?
He's a genius, basically.
Exactly. He is actually a technological genius. You just don't tell him that or let him tell you that. That's where we run into problems.
So for our audience as well, I just wanted to describe the Q cat. It's just a white plastic cat with a laser that shoots out of his mouth.
It's about a foot long.
It's true. No, Rhys isn't making this up. It's what it looks like.
And its tail is a white USB that plugs into your computer. To use the QCat, now this is why it completely failed.
Wouldn't have been USB, not back then.
Oh yeah, it was. No one else had one, of course.
No, it would have been like, I mean, your keyboard in the 90s. The USB came out in the 2000s. Something
technically it came out in 1996.
USB?
So seriously, we're talking about a really old version of USB.
I didn't know that.
The big chunky one.
The the square, thick ones. Yeah.
Oh shit. Oh, I didn't even.
Yeah. And so the idea was that it was purchased by the Digital Convergence Corporation. You remember in the video they said that you can just get one for free, which is like, okay, that doesn't make money.
They said it like 20 times.
Free laser cats for all.
But the whole idea was they want people to be shopping on RadioShack.com. Yeah, that's where they make their money back.
Yeah, so the idea was that, okay, these are really super cheap to make, and you just get everyone involved, and it becomes the unnecessary part of economics. Mm-hmm. No one, of course, wanted to use it, and as you said, not enough people had USBs, and certainly not that USB, because USBs hadn't been more or less universalized at that point. So they lost $185 million, including investors, Radio Shack, who was one of their primary clients, because no one used it. And those who did use it found that it had a lot of weird restrictions on security, while at the same time being completely unsecure. So to use one, you had to sign up directly yourself to the QCat. It would require your email, which at the time, of course, you had one email, and that was directly tied to like your phone bill or something. Yeah. You had to have your post office box or a zip code, and you had to give your gender. Why? Yeah.
Well, the cat needs to know.
Exactly.
The cat needs to know, yeah.
But secretly, it would also record your IP address and any information that you were looking at.
Oh, that's crazy.
Wow. And anything, what?
And anything you were looking at with it, like through the program while the program was active. What? So super insecure. Now,
oh my God!
To make it secure,
it was Google before its time.
It really was. and there's a Google response coming up as well from the DCC. So to make it more secure, hackers, of course, said, "Well, hold on, I can just break in, fix it, make it more secure, and then I can keep using it." And that's what you want, right? Yeah. You want me to be using this device, and DCC went, "No. Stop it."
What?
They threatened to sue every single user of it who had broken in to make themselves more secure. And by the end of it, this only took a year.
Hold on. Can I feel like I'm cluing in as to where this is going. Was this the first conceptual idea for data mining?
More or less.
It was like, we don't really care if you buy products. We just want you to use it while you like surf the web while this is connected to your thing so we can know more about you.
Exactly. And like the first time anyone does something like that, it wasn't their intention. They had no interest in that actual information. They just wanted it to like be able to track where their QCats are going and what their kind of market saturation is. They had no idea that they were sitting on a gold mine of potential information.
Of course. And then what happened is they were like, oh my God, everyone's buying oatmeal. So it makes perfect sense.
That's what this oatmeal.
Because I guess, all the data they collected was a byproduct of all those initial first web companies that set up. And then once they monetized that, that was it. It's like, there's that rule. If you get something for free on the internet, you are the product.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah,
exactly, and that's what it kind of turned into. They were sitting on all of this information that technically the DCC wasn't allowed to hold, and they had no interest in using it.
What's the DCC stand for again?
So that is the Digital Convergence Corporation. It was a company that had the idea that if you can get everyone using the next stage of evolution in technology, then you can get sign-on partners to come on and they fund it so that the consumer doesn't have to. So in this case, along with a couple of other corporations, Radio Shack paid for the technology to be manufactured and delivered. And the idea was you would then use it at Radio Shack to purchase all of your radios and shacks.
And shacks.
Excuse me, and shacks for little shacks for your radios.
Shacks, tinier shacks to put your radio in a shack.
Okay, Jesse's disappeared.
Maybe I don't know. Maybe he found one in the back of the closet.
He's got. Hang on a minute. I've got a Q cat in my house.
That's the thing. There are 500,000 of these things still out there. You can buy one on Amazon today, right now, for less than 50 cents.
Oh, really? I want to buy one and just scan
one of these
random.
scan cats. Oh
Yes,
my
you
God!
can.
I'm buying it this
Are you gonna
second.
go-
Actually, I
Jesse's
believe
gonna
it
go
was
buy
38 cents, if I recall.
Oh wow!
Yeah, American. So, there will be a markup.
Yeah.
Watch out.
And shipping.
And
as well.
shipping. The shipping might be a little bit more.
Because I was looking at this, it said Time apparently named it one of the worst. Was it one of the worst 50 inventions?
Yeah. So out of Time
What's
magazine,
it called? Just scan cat?
Q-Cat, CUE cat, but one word.
Hello, sorry.
Listeners at home buy this too.
CUE cat. One word. Q
One
cat.
word. Yeah.
Q-Cat.
So they named it the 5th worst invention out of their 50 of all
Oh
time.
wow, that's pretty high up.
Whereas,
They don't have. It's not here. It's not on the Canadian store, at least.
oh, that's disappointing.
Yeah.
eBay.
PC World named it 20 of the 25 worst tech products of all time as well.
Wow.
And those came in, PC World named it that in 2006. Time named it that in, I believe, 2010. So we're not talking about like at the moment.
Yeah.
Things occurred and people still went, hey, you remember Q-Cat? Fuck.
So this, and also, well, this is the thing. He's now working with Rudy Giuliani as what do they call him, inventor and pattern recognition expert.
Yes.
So he's testifying that he's bigger than Apple and Google combined, and on approximately 12 billion devices globally, which I thought was bullshit, but actually is true.
It actually technically is true because there are 12 billion mobile devices.
And his what he originally came up with is being used every day.
Exactly. Now, at the same point, there's 12 billion copies of like the same microphone, and someone came up with that as well. So he's certainly trying to promote himself, and he is very much an expert at certainly that and probably nothing else. Because yes, while he was technically proficient enough to come up with this device and smart enough to take the patent money, it was sold to DCC, and that's how he will always have money.
Right.
He moved on from there very quickly, but he's always claimed that he's a true tech expert. No one understands tech better than him. No one understands tech, And if you've spoken to this man, trust me, you will understand. It makes complete sense. He has gone in with Trump and Rudy Giuliani.
Oh, really?
Yeah,
because that's where the story kind of goes next. Because the reason he's on the radar and we're talking about him is that he has some history in Nova Scotia.
Oh, really?
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
And this story is going to go in a very bizarre direction.
Yeah.
Excellent. So I love it when that happens.
So I'll start vaguely at the beginning because you have to understand the pathology of this very strange man. So his name is originally Jeffrey Jovan Filia.
Filia?
Filia. He's probably so bored of that in school.
Oh, yeah. No, and he hated his name. He actually told me he hated his name, and that's why he changed it.
He told you?
Yes.
You spoke to him?
I have spoken to this man. Before his websites were shut down, he used to have manufactured phone calls between myself and him.
Manufactured?
So we would have phone calls, about other subjects, and then he would splice and edit them so that it sounded like he was arguing something else and I was ignoring him.
I don't think you're allowed to do that.
Technically, you're not, but also we used it for content. We had fun with it, being like, look at this lunatic. Isn't that fun?
All right.
Yeah. At the age of 9, he created the Treasure Force and named himself commander. And he has kept Treasure Force up.
What?
And the name commander ever since. This man's in his 60s.
Well, when I was a kid, I had a shed that was full of spiders. It was like a tree house, but on the ground because the tree wasn't strong enough to support a tiny wooden house. And me and my friend, we had a ghost club, and I had a book about myths and legends, and we go like trying to solve ghost crimes. Amazingly, we never solved any. But I knew that I needed to move on from Ghost Club when I turned 10.
See,
So
that was your mistake.
I know.
You moved on.
Exactly.
Moved on.
Maybe I need to bring Ghost Club back.
If you had stuck with Ghost Club, you and Barack Obama would be out having adventures right now.
Exactly. Solving mysterious crimes with Barack Obama.
Oh, that's my phone.
So unprofessional.
How dare.
He says that every time.
So, it's because it happens every time.
At some point in the late 80s, early 90s, he started producing television, local television in Dallas, Texas.
Okay.
Specifically infomercials.
Oh, God.
And that's where
I was just about to ask what he was making.
Yeah, exactly. And that's how he got enough money to develop the QCat and as well an idea of like where commerce was headed at the time.
What's that? What's that you say? Oh, it's time for a very special announcement in the middle of the episode. That can't be right. There's more episode to come. Yes, indeed. You just have to sit through this.
So that's where he got his money. Now, to understand what he's done with his money, as I said, he has kept up Treasure Force his entire life. He considers himself to be an archaeologist, world adventurer, an explorer who has explored absolutely nowhere, and like this leading expert on history, everything history. And by the way, when I say history, I need you to understand what this means.
Okay.
Egypt was flown in from Mars.
That's my kind of history.
Not the pyramids, not the people.
The whole country.
The whole country.
Just a
Egypt.
chunk of land.
Plopped down on top of Africa.
That's amazing.
I once spoke to someone who was in the CIA's remote viewing program, and he said the CIA asked him to telepathically communicate with dolphins, and it was because they were trying to get him ready to speak to aliens. And dolphins was alien is the next logical progression from a dolphin, obviously.
Of course. Yeah.
But he used to project his body to Mars, and he said there's loads of pyramids. I see them all the time. I'll just project my consciousness to Mars. He was a really interesting guy. He did used to work with the men who stare at goats.
Yes, it's very funny.
Based on a true story. He was in that program.
Oh, wow.
An offshoot of that program that is actually clearly related is that the dolphins that they were training to understand English, they found that if they gave them narcotics such as MDMA, they were much more receptive to human interaction. And at some point, it was discovered. I'm not kidding.
Amazing.
At some point, it was discovered by a woman scientist working there that when they were high on MDMA, if you masturbated them, they were like super cooperative with the program.
So basically, what's your job? I drug and wank off dolphins.
Correct. And with tax dollars.
With tax dollars.
With his tax dollars.
That's on my LinkedIn.
Yeah. If I recall, Carl Sagan himself shut the program down in embarrassment and frustration.
I think the CIA were in a very dark place back then.
Would you call that a dark place? It's a place.
That was their experimental phase.
How do you get to have that job? Like, what's the line?
You're a dolphin handler.
Oh, no. This is a whale biologist.
A whale, really?
Yeah.
Oh, wow.
So you went to school.
Getting dolphins high and then jerking them off.
Correct.
And getting paid to do so.
Imagine,
so you imagine like at a tea party, like, oh, what do you do? How do I, okay. Where do you start with you know.
I just imagine while they're doing it, they just keep telling themselves in their head. They're going, it's like going, this is for the good of science. This is for the good of science. This is for the good of science.
The funny, the absolute funniest part of that entire thing, though, is they went through all of that and at the end discovered that they kind of misread the instructions. They weren't supposed to get dolphins to understand English. They were supposed to get humans to understand dolphin.
So they're wanking off the wrong people.
Yeah. You should have,
So they should have got the humans high and get dolphins to whack off the humans.
Exactly. Right. Then it would have worked. Then this Cold War would have ended 2 decades earlier.
Exactly. And saved so many lives in the process.
Could have worn Nom, damn it.
Oh my God. Yeah, that'll be the sequel to The Men Who Stare at Goats, The Men Who Jerk Off Dolphins.
Oh, God.
Anyway.
Back to this equally crazy story.
Because it's about to take a turn.
Oh, yeah? Okay.
And that turn is going to land it directly into Yarmouth County.
Well, it's Party Central.
Yarmouth County.
Yeah.
For people not from Nova Scotia, like me, it's
You are
on
from
the,
Nova Scotia.
I've only lived
talking
here 3 years. Like, it's the southern tip of Nova Scotia, pointing in the direction of Boston.
Yeah, it's
obviously.
our butt.
Nova Scotia's butt.
And like many butts, no one really wants to go there, and it's kind of dirty.
There's a nice lighthouse.
I can say that because I was born there.
Oh, there we go.
And I'm,
there you go. Okay,
I'm
that's gonna
terribly
being harsh on
sorry.
a rural community.
So at some point, between taking all that money and running off from DCC and the creation of Oak Island, the Curse of Oak Island show.
He made the Curse of Oak Island show?
No, but we will get to that.
I think he wanted a piece of it, didn't he?
He definitely did. He managed to set himself up in promotional material, at least, as a historical expert, to the point that the producers of the Curse of Oak Island, when they were setting it up, contacted him because they were reaching out to anyone, specifically a producer called Kevin Burns, who is the head of Prometheus Entertainment. Prometheus Entertainment made Curse of Oak Island, but they also did Ancient Aliens.
I've heard of these shows.
Yeah.
Ancient Aliens, the guy with the crazy hair.
Yeah, exactly.
The meme where the guy's going,
aliens.
aliens. That guy. That
I've
show.
seen it.
It basically says like a lot of the ancient temples and pyramids were built by humans were taught how to build them by aliens, or they were built by aliens, and it's based on very little evidence.
Yeah,
is my understanding, but a lot of fun. I think they're having fun.
They're having fun, but they're also like. It increasingly started promoting white supremacist stuff because, like, white people can build stuff.
What?
But Africans and South Americans
kind of latent
and Asians
racism.
can't.
Yeah. There's no way they could build a pyramid that good. Only we can.
Yeah.
So aliens must have done it. Exactly. That makes sense. That's like a truth bomb in my brain you just dropped.
I talked to Kevin Burns at the time when I was covering all this, and he legitimately didn't understand the problem with passing off nonsense as history. Of course, we have now seen in America what happens when you pass off too much nonsense, we will get back to that. But it's this wonderful wibbly wobbly ball of nonsense that is like everything is connected.
Nice
and none of it
reference.
makes sense.
That was good.
Exactly.
Thank you.
A wibbly wobbly ball of nonsense. That's how many reviewers talk about our podcast.
So he got contacted by Prometheus Entertainment to essentially become not an expert, not a researcher, kind of a guide, someone to help them along with like coming up with ideas to make it dramatic. That's the whole thing. It's like we're essentially just digging a hole. How can we make this episodically dramatic? And Hutton at the time, a couple of years ago, he got in a fight with the producer. We'll get to that. And he claimed that during that meeting, he was shown porn by the producer.
Of men jerking off dolphins?
I believe of reality show contestants.
Jerking off dolphins?
Jerking off each other. As a way of like, oh, we'll not only pay you, here's some free porn.
What?
So didn't they realize that he's the master of the internet?
I
He doesn't
know,
need
right?
their free porn. He's got everybody
knows
else's.
all the porn.
Exactly.
Oh yeah, I've seen this.
He scans
this morning.
barcodes on porn mags. But I think like the thing as well is that he actually appeared on some of the episodes, didn't he?
He did. He wormed his way into it one way or another because it was supposed to just start as like this guy who helps them with narrative, but he kept pushing that he was an expert. And one of the ways that he pushed himself as an expert expert, and this is how I came across him, is he would create additional content that technically you couldn't tell he made, and the show certainly didn't make, but it like revolved around the show in a way that kept bringing it to the attention.
Okay.
And specifically, in early 2015, a press release hit the wire. I was working at Frank just down the street from here at the time. And what we would do is we would take press releases, print them off, and at the end of a 2-week cycle, we would go through them. And anything that seemed really out there, cool, whatever, we would look into. And this press release said that then NDP MLA Denise Patterson-Refuse had stood up in the middle of the legislature and said, "The Spear of Destiny has been found in Yarmouth County."
What?
What? It's gone very Indiana Jones.
Yes, it did.
What?
Now, there are numerous problems.
This didn't happen.
This did not happen.
Okay, this is the Spear of Destiny that is like the weapon of the Antichrist.
Yes,
that's
the Spear of Longinus, the Holy Lance, the one that is supposed to have stabbed Jesus Christ through the side, and if carried in front of an army, would make that army invincible. It is what the movie Constantine
that's where I learned
revolves
from,
around.
Yes. Exactly. Yeah.
And by the way, technically it's a real thing, but it's not the real spear. There is an item called the Spear of Destiny or the Holy Lance. It is in a museum in Austria at the Weltliches Schatzkammer Museum in Vienna.
I love that museum. It's great for kids.
I actually had to contact them for this story.
Oh, wow. Wow.
So we knew immediately it was bullshit, not because it was the Spear of Destiny, but because the legislature wasn't sitting when it claimed it was.
Oh.
That's the kind of nerds we were.
That's called like journalists doing their job and checking the facts.
How fucking dare.
So you kind of just followed through on. Let's check the basics.
So this is a lot of information to kind of to absorb. Who said that she said this again?
So this press release that didn't have an origin. There are places on the internet where you can just put out press releases and you don't necessarily have to say where the origin of it is. So it's like this thing stands out for a bunch of reasons, but it's through the official wire. So someone's paid money to have this show up in every newsroom in North America.
Wow.
I've just found a new hobby.
Yeah.
Yeah, right? If I was a rich person, that's what I would do.
Press releases about my life. Today, Rhys went to the shop.
Bought a bagel.
He bought
cream
a new
cheese.
and a new hat.
If I recall, it was on prsync.com. They are still up and running, so have at.
Yes.
So I, of course, contacted MLA Denise Patterson-Refuse and asked point blank, Did you find the Spear of Destiny? Did you say this? And she had to answer. I'm so happy that she vaguely respected me. She talked to me and had to answer that no, I did not say in the legislature that the Spear of Destiny has been found in Yarmouth County. No, to the best of my knowledge, the Spear of Destiny has not been found in Yarmouth County. I don't know what you're talking about. Thank you very much. Goodbye.
I would love it if she gave a politician's answer where she didn't answer. She goes, well, there are many artifacts in my region, and I know that there's a lot of history was very celebrated.
Spear anyway. Exactly. And what is whose destiny are we talking about? Yeah, my destiny. There's a lot of destinies.
You sure it wasn't a fork of fate?
Right, exactly.
I got that.
A spoon of forgiveness.
The spatula of truth.
So and
she is greater of greatness. We could go on forever.
I like that one.
So many utensils.
So, and of course, I contact the museum in Vienna. You got to double check these things.
Yeah.
And I asked them to stand in front of the exhibit and tell me that they were looking at it. And they said, yeah. The spear's right here. And then they hung up. Is
this true? These are actual
These
conversations?
are actual
Okay.
conversations. I have had a lot of fun conversations. Working at Frank Magazine is stressful and entertaining. let's just put it that way.
That's amazing.
So a part of the PR, the press release, was this couple of paragraphs, actually the vast majority of it, of an expert talking about how they had confirmed that, oh yeah, all of these items, like it's not just the Spear of Destiny, it's more. It's treasures from King Solomon.
And we still don't know who put these.
To this day, technically, I do not know.
Right.
I have a very good suspicion because that expert that the actual press release was about was J. Hutton Pulitzer.
He was the person who discovered it?
He was the person who verified it.
Right.
Claimed to verify.
So he's basically finding all of the mythical treasures of the world in Yarmouth.
Exactly. And it's inferred in the same press release, not outright stated, but inferred that the Ark of the Covenant is with it.
Was this to boost ratings for a show?
Yeah, pretty much. It's to boost him being on the show.
So the Spear of Destiny, the Ark of Covenant, do you have the Holy Grail by any chance?
The Holy Grail was still missing. There was, however, later on a Greco-Roman artifact, landing site, and an alleged settlement by Romans.
Amazing.
We will get to that.
To make him...
to make him seem like this world-changing archaeologist, expert, hero.
Did it work?
No.
Okay.
I just love that it was kind of almost like he watched Indiana Jones and was like, wouldn't it be cool if all this was in one place?
Yeah.
And that was it.
I was Indiana Jones.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Like they were like the Dead Sea Scrolls. Were they there? And all these other kind of like amazing treasures. The seventh wonder of the world was in Yarmouth. It was the drive-through Tim Hortons.
Yeah.
You know, the finest of all the drive-throughs.
Well, Mary was on the side of a Tim Hortons in Cape Breton, if you remember.
Oh yeah. I don't know if this was well covered by Jordan Bonaparte from Nighttime.
I was actually on the last episode.
Oh really? But there was an apparition of Jesus appeared on the side.
Was it Jesus? I thought
it was Jesus.
Mary.
No, Jesus appeared on the side of Tim Hortons in Cape Breton.
That.
And then people used to come. People were coming from all around to see it, and this video of it. And then the manager polished the bulb of the light above, and he vanished.
Yeah, amazing.
His work was done.
I don't know how it happened.
Yeah.
It's incredible. He went back to his home planet.
Holy dust.
So, of course, I have to contact, everyone involved with this because it's a ridiculous story. I'm telling it. I have to tell it. I have to get the truth. And I end up going down a rabbit hole that leads me.
We're not down a rabbit hole yet.
Goddamn far. No. Because once I start talking to Hutton, he starts laying on his nonsense. And he's trying to convince me.
This was in 2015?
This is 2015,
okay,
yeah.
Right.
He's trying to convince me of every possible conceivable conspiracy theory behind everything under the sun all at once.
Oh my God.
While at the same time.
I've had talks with people like that.
Right?
It's weird and
JFK,
maddening.
aliens, I don't know, Abraham Lincoln was a robot, all that kind of stuff. And he's in Disney.
And,
the Lincoln bot.
That's the thing. You go to the Hall of Presidents. Those aren't machines.
No, the real president.
The real, yeah.
The real.
So, and his main problem isn't only that he's a conspiracy theorist. He believes he's the one who's going to solve everything, and then everyone will see. Then everyone will see.
Yeah, they'll one day they'll understand. They won't laugh at me anymore.
Right.
Yeah.
I am the commander of was it Treasure Force?
The Treasure Force Commander.
Treasure Force Commander.
Yeah, and he.
I'm gonna get a business card with that on. Oh my God,
he tried to get sworn in on the Georgia State testimony they gave as commander. They wouldn't do it because they couldn't prove that he was part of the armed forces.
You just can't come up with your own rank. It's ridiculous.
So I contact him and I ask him about it, and it was a ridiculous conversation where he more or less avoided every question I could give or I could ask him. And
of course.
And I asserted at the end, "You wrote this, didn't you?" Like this is you, because listening to the way he was talking about it, it's like you either memorized this press release or you wrote it.
Someone
it's
just
your
wrote down
language.
while you were like free flowing.
Exactly. And he lost his shit over that.
Really?
What resulted was 2 weeks of him calling a few times a day to try to convince me, and then yell at me, and then yell at my editor, and then convince the editor.
Why pick up the phone?
because we had to.
Really?
We had
Legally?
It was a staff of only 3 people, and when you're dealing with an entire province worth of stories, anytime that phone rings, and he would change phone numbers.
I was gonna say because you just identify the phone and don't pick it up.
It's like those scam calls. It was like constantly changing his number and just to hassle you.
And the whole time he was recording. Now we were recording as well, so we were able to release
hold on.
proof counter.
So he would call 3 times a day for weeks, trying to convince you that what he told you in the interview was real.
Correct, because we were going to run with the assertion that he had made the whole thing up.
Oh, okay. And it was getting really tiring because he was calling 3 or 4 times a day, every single day for weeks. Why not just tell him like, oh, okay, I believe you.
Because that would be unethical.
So
I know. There's the thing.
We're not going to print anything. I'm just going to believe. Yeah, tell you I believe you.
That would be unethical. I would not be able to do that because it simply wouldn't be true about what we're publishing.
That's true. Essentially, then he could. If he's got you recorded saying that, you're misleading him from
exactly. I could be sued
if he was recording the phone call, right? Yeah,
so the crazy amount of nonsense he could send me, he can go on and on and on. There's no repercussion aside from me printing the crazy nonsense.
Right.
I had to sit there and listen to this crap.
My God.
Until finally I just started like, no, I'm hanging up on you, and I'd say I'm hanging up on you. Click, and he'd call back immediately, and eventually. Connected to a different nonsense later on, he took all of that and edited it together to seem like I was not listening to him. And that's the thing. He never attacked me in terms of like the way Trump attacked people, like, oh, you don't know anything. You know, he always attacked me in the way that he wanted my validation
destroyed.
No, he wanted me to believe him.
He wanted you to, he was just trying to angle it so that you would admit that.
You were right. Oh my God, Hutton, you're so right.
That's crazy.
How didn't I know that?
Oh, wow. So basically, it was the fact that someone who he'd never met challenged him about something he was doing. He couldn't sleep until he convinced you one-on-one and converted you to believe and understand his perspective. And he literally just could not rest until you were like, oh my God, you're right. The Ark of the Covenant and all this amazing shit is in Yarmouth. And that everyone else is lying to me. The museum's lying to me. The MLA is lying to me. Everyone is lying to me.
The Sergeant at Arms of the legislature must be lying to me because that guy's got an agenda.
He doesn't like his job, obviously. He hates his job. He wants to put up misleading things.
That's amazing. That's the weird. There was this tiny little angle to the original press release that it wasn't. The what it was pushing wasn't that the Spear of Destiny was discovered. It was that by announcing it, she to the Sergeant of Arms, which is not a thing that happens. He clearly didn't understand the procedure here. She was violating some sort of rights contract.
Was it his freedom of speech by not saying what he thought she said?
Essentially, yes.
Yeah, that seems to be. You can't say that. You can't, because that impedes my freedom of speech somehow.
How dare?
Yeah, exactly.
So anyway, there was a whole legal angle that got thrown out because it was like, man, I'm dealing with too much nonsense right now. I'm not going to buy into this lie of yours. Right. I'm busy digging through this one.
Yeah.
So that went on for a while. There was some back and forth, and I ended up in a couple of his websites, which have all since been decommissioned and removed.
Wow.
In which he
by him or
by him.
Treasureforce.com.
Treasureforce.com.
Was that actually the site?
Yeah.
Yes. Was it really?
JHuttonPulitzer.com. There was 2 others with really weird names that I cannot remember. These were things, and he would sell. He attempted to sell crystals for $145,000. He attempted to sell.
Did he sell any?
Were they powerful crystals?
Oh, the superpower is good.
I mean, that's good value for money. Trust me.
Magic is part of this story. We're getting to that.
This is insane.
I love magic crystals. They do so much for me,
and they love you, Rhys.
They do.
There was also an anthology he claimed to have written, but I swear it was just a Photoshop photo of like an encyclopedia set. That would be yours for $10,000.
Wow.
Yeah. Fun times. It was supposed to detail how King Solomon's treasure ended up in North America. And here's the thing. Originally, it was in North America. It eventually became in Canada. Eventually became at Oak Island. These things evolve as he needs them to evolve.
Did they evolve in the direction of a major TV show?
Yes.
Yes, there we go.
Yeah. So
It's amazing how like really, really mentally unstable people end up in positions of power and with great wealth.
It's because it's loneliness, though. You're kind of, if you're super rich, like I remember somebody I know, they used to be a driver for a millionaire, and they said they was the loneliest person they ever met, because they were convinced that people were only interested in them. For any friendship or relationship was based on the fact they were rich, and they just were terrified that they weren't liking them for who they were. They just saw the money, and that's why they wanted to be their friend. And they became very paranoid about the world, and it's quite a lonely place, I think. So if you made a lot of money, and then you can just you've got all the time and money in the world to indulge yourself in these crazy fantasies, and you can surround yourself by people who will validate those.
Right, because you've got money and they'll say whatever you want. Yeah,
exactly.
Wow, right. Yeah, that's a good point.
yeah. And you can buy respect, because he, while we're making fun of him, he does have quite a few fans. They just happen to be on like Gateway Pundit and Ammoland.com and other places like that.
Kind of alt-right, kind of
super alt-right.
Yeah.
And they got to him through, of course, the Ancient Aliens connection.
Of course.
Naturally. I mean, of course.
Also, he's on 12 billion devices, so he's bigger than Apple and Google.
He's listening right now.
Exactly.
Jovan.
Exactly.
Jovan. So eventually he went away for a while. We published the story. I had fun. We had fun. He got annoyed. He wrote a couple of things, and an anthropologist named Andy White, who is essentially a fact checker. He wrote a couple of great blog posts where he detailed the schism between he and I in wonderful detail. I was rereading it this afternoon and had just a delightful chuckle. Shout out to Andy White, who was just so calm in denying everything that this guy claims, and having I believe he's a doctor of anthropology. He knows what he's talking about.
Okay.
I only have a bachelor's degree in history, and when it comes to that kind of stuff, so
I know how to spell the word history.
Dang.
That's about as far as I got.
I fucked that up on an exam once.
HYSSTAR.
Histri.
Yeah.
Histori. Later that year, say about 8 months go by, I assume I'm never going to hear from this lunatic again. And suddenly I get an email that from, I believe, Andy White, that I should look into something. Because he's back talking about... He's back. Talking about a sword.
Yes, the sword. I've got a picture of the sword.
Swordgate.
Swordgate. Look at that.
So that is one of the Lagina brothers
You can see his reflection.
There.
Yeah.
That is the hood of the car, or the back window of the car.
Can I see it? Can you make it bigger?
I can. The old-fashioned way of moving it
Just
closer.
move the
to you.
There we
computer
go.
closer to my face.
So the Lagina brothers are the two guys digging in Oak Island.
Yeah.
If you don't know that.
And he found this in Oak Island?
No, so that's the hood or the glass glass windshield of a car of a guy who was never identified from Yarmouth County.
The guy, the reflection in the mirror?
No, that's Lagina. He's one of the buyers. They purchased that for tens of thousands of dollars from some dude in Yarmouth.
So the buyer bought it from some dude.
So the Laguna brothers, is it Lagina? Sorry.
I think it's Lagina. Yeah.
But they're essentially the two brothers who are buying up most of Oak Island. They're the two who feature on The Curse of Oak Island.
Okay.
The one of them's like a millionaire, and he's putting all his fortune into solving, and they also make a lot of money off the TV show. So he bought the sword off an anonymous sword person.
Some random dude who...
Random sword dealer
who either told him this story or they came up with this story that 70 years ago, the sword seller's grandfather came across a shipwreck. And it was the weirdest shipwreck he's ever seen. This isn't like any kind of boat we have around here, and it's all made of like wood, and it's something very strange. And is that... There's a sword in the dirt there, and I'll just pull it out, and wow, that's a hell of a sword. And allegedly he didn't hand it over because any artifacts found in Nova Scotia become like Nova Scotia property, or you have to pay heavy taxes to keep ownership of it. That wasn't true at the time, by the way. That that is true now and has been true for a while.
Tell me this again. So if I find any sort of
artifact, like historical artifact or treasure in Nova Scotia, it's not yours.
Really?
And if you want to keep it, you have to pay like a crap ton of cash.
Wow.
Yeah.
I think that's to make sure that if they do find important historical stuff. And I think it probably comes from a lot of the indigenous people finding important indigenous artifacts and not treating them with respect and donating them to a museum or to that community, I guess.
Okay, all right.
So they're probably like, we need to make sure that.
I mean, it's not like this is a province of treasure hunters or anything like that.
Apart from one of the world's most famous treasure hunters.
Right, yeah,
exactly. Apart from that, yes.
And that's why in that show at Oak Island, they've never found anything of actual regional merit.
No.
Because there used to be that was a fishing location for the Mi'kmaq, and later was an actual settlement over various centuries for settlers. They've never found anything from those people because if you announce that you found that, you have to hand it over and pay money.
All right.
It's easier to destroy it.
Yeah.
Okay. Anyway,
it's a wonderful attitude, isn't it?
Isn't it though?
Just throw it at that. No, that doesn't support our TV show.
So these guys found. So someone found this sword and decided to sell it right away.
Yeah. After 70 years, for some reason, they decided to contact secretly the Lagina brothers. Not the production of the show, the brothers, and sell it to them on a back road somewhere in Yarmouth County out of the trunk of a car.
Okay.
So they pay the tens of thousands of dollars. They never told me the number, but they said tens of thousands. And they got Pulitzer to prove that it's real. Because Pulitzer, of course, was like, I'm an expert. I know everything. I know how to do this. Exactly. You scan it. Exactly. It pulls you, gives you Quaker Oats.
Roman website.
It's fantastic.
This is an authentic Roman website.
Oh my God. They hit the internet long before anyone else.
Thank God for my cat.
And he claimed that he sent it off to Harvard and sent it off to experts. And I've had metallurgists look at it, and they've proven without a shadow of a doubt that not only is it authentic, not only has it been found here, not only does it prove that the Romans got here first, it's magic.
Wow.
It's how they got here, because it is a magic divining sword that will point you the way to North America.
Do you ever wonder if people like this actually believe their own shit?
If he doesn't believe it, he's putting more effort into that than I put into things I fucking love.
I mean, the fact that it's magic makes me think it's worth tens of thousands of dollars, because you don't.
$20,000, specifically $20,000.
$20,000.
Yeah.
21,000? No. No magic's worth that.
When I've bought back road swords out the back of somebody's car.
Let me tell you about how many times I've gotten haunted katanas.
Exactly. They've never pointed me in the direction of anything useful. So I think that was a steal.
I know. A fantastic deal. And not only that, he was able to backtrack the shipwreck somehow. He was able to find the shipwreck and proved with scans, quote unquote scans,
right,
that it was indeed real. And
QCAT scans.
QCAT scans. And prove that the Romans were the first Europeans to land in North America 1,000 years before the Vikings, thus making him the most important archaeologist in North American history.
Did you say, I am now the most important archaeologist in North American history, and I'm awesome?
I'm awesome.
I'm really awesome.
Look at me.
But didn't he also try to claim that he'd found Mi'kmaq carvings that were of Roman legionnaires? So he's basically trying to just collect as much evidence as he could with a scant bit of information from what he understood history was, or what people might pay attention to here, I guess.
He did, absolutely. So he asserted that there were hieroglyphs that he discovered. No, you can't see them. That showed Romans interacting with Mi'kmaq. Now, Mi'kmaq hieroglyphs aren't scenes of people.
Right. No, it's more animals and spirits and things of that nature.
Yeah, so this doesn't make sense on any possible level. And this is how he also approached any proof of the sword or the ship. Yes, I have reams of proof. I have documents. Look at these documents. No, you can't look at them. Look at my pile of documents. No, you can't look. Stop looking at them.
Look at them from a distance.
Look at them from a distance. See the side of them? How many piles of paper I have? And so it got asserted because if you assert something but don't allow the proof to be examined, you can't disprove something.
Yeah.
Right.
So it's never been disproven.
Right.
There's lots of things that haven't been disproven.
Tons of things.
Like my left arm has never been disproven to not be made of bread. So I'm waiting for those tests to come back. But
in the meantime, let's just trust you.
Yeah, it's like it's just a bendy baguette.
This eventually led because it was a big topic of discussion on the show, but they of course never found any conclusions on the show because the entire point is just to drive the audience.
Just dig a bigger hole while everyone is getting more and more worked up.
Exactly. In 2017, Tony Ince, a MLA, I believe liberal MLA, actually offered, like, please let us see the artifact. We can prove it. The province will prove it. We'll pay for everything, and you'll go down in history, and you'll go down in history, and this whole thing will actually have mattered. And the sword vanished.
Oh, no.
Shit.
I was looking at some subreddits, the Curse of Oak Island.
Yeah, it went back home.
But the Curse of Oak Island, like, there's a big fan base. There's a subreddit, and I was looking at their discussions of it, and somebody posted pictures saying their parents were on holidays in Pompeii, and they bought a souvenir sword from Pompeii that looked identical to the sword in the picture.
Yeah. Now, you don't have to go all the way to Mount Vesuvius to get this. You can do it right here, right now. Go on Amazon.
I'm going to go on Amazon, as you say.
Yeah.
I'll go on Amazon too.
There's a very specific name for it. So you may want to first just look up what the name of the Roman sword from Oak Island is. But it is there for, if I recall, $38 Canadian.
Okay.
It is made of a copper and iron alloy that did not exist at the time of Rome.
Right.
And it has it's essentially
a rare set of votive swords.
There it is, rare set of votive swords. Votive.
Oh no, I can only find replica, like mole ninja stuff.
Yeah, I've got a decor of a dragon on top of a castle.
Someone's selling
a candle with Edgar Allan Poe.
I know,
scented.
I found it somewhere.
There's someone selling the armor of a Roman centurion, like a replica armor.
Holy shit.
My impression of the fandom of Curse of Oak Island, they're very passionate, they're very into it, but it genuinely get the idea that they don't like Jovan at all.
Yeah, no, because it's essentially attaching a complete lunatic who clearly is a fraud to a show that is trying to be very serious about their bullshit.
Yeah.
They want you to believe all of that, or at least they want you to buy into the narrative. Because, again, this isn't supposed to be history. It's supposed to be narrative. And if you take it as history, well, more fool you, I guess.
Yeah, it's entertainment.
Exactly. But however, he kept pushing himself further and further. And like anytime they'd come up with something where they're like, we need an expert on this, he'd go, I'm an expert on this. And
no matter the subject.
No matter the subject. And eventually the producer, Kevin Burns, said, I'm calling bullshit. I'm finally done with you. You're pissing me off. And they got into a big old fight, and he wasn't allowed to be involved with the production again.
Wow.
Like, he got kicked off. And that's why now he walks around going like, he showed me porn.
Oh, right.
Which is not illegal.
Not illegal. Now, he asserts that it was taken without contestants on reality shows awareness. It's like inside changing room photos and like video. He has no proof of this. And to be very clear, Kevin Burns died in September last year. Oh. So he can say whatever he wants about him, and it's never going to be
just
countered.
Make anything up he wants, and there's no response.
Mm-hmm.
It's not very nice.
It's horrible. It's horrible. So nothing came of the sword. The Spear of Destiny is still in Austria. And of course, now because he claimed to be an inventor and pattern recognition expert who, through QAnon connections, has connected himself to Rudy Giuliani and Donald Trump. See,
how's he connected to them?
Money. When you're crazy and you have money, you can simply buy access to these people.
Right.
So he was able to buy his way into such a high level.
Yeah.
Now he assumed that, like, oh well, Trump's obviously going to take the White House back, and then I'll be connected to these people, and I'll get money and power and riches, and finally then I can show you all.
So his goal was, or his idea was, I'm going to help Trump get back into the White House, and when I do that, then I'm going to have connections with the president.
Exactly. I saved the presidency. I saved America.
And then they would have been charged. Like, he would be commander of the Smithsonian.
You
or
know it.
like that.
Yeah. Then they put him in charge of the Smithsonian.
Or history, like the federal history program.
He'll
for
be
schools.
the history expert.
Yeah, exactly.
So he attached himself to this attempt to undermine the Georgia runoff results. And through Rudy Giuliani's office and his legal team, he was brought in as an expert during the testimony to discredit the Dominion voting machines. Now, while these machines are, super high tech and like I said, vweep, 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 they are very limited intentionally. One thing that
it's a counting machine. It's a counting machine. What of these numbers do you want to select? How difficult does this machine have to be? Like, how incredibly technologically advanced must this device be in order to count a vote? Like, just
well, he claimed that they were all interconnected on a network through the internet. For reasons.
Yeah.
And that
everything's connected in his world.
Everything's connected. Of course. Everything's connected. And so he not only had hacked into them already just to see if he could, by the way, of course, and no, I can't show you how. He'll do it right now. Right now. Look at me. I'm hacking. I'm hacking. He claimed all this in front of an actual state, state legislature testimonial what's-its looking into voting fraud. Like, this was a full proper thing that he got to spew bullshit in front of
in a court of law.
In a court of law.
I hope he was holding a magic sword. That would have completed the ensemble.
Wearing an apron.
Apparently, he was waving his phone a bit. There is footage of him testifying to all of this.
He's testifying in a court of law, waving a phone around, saying he's currently hacking.
Yes. Now, there's two ways that this went.
So when you said that, you weren't joking. He actually said he could hack with his brain.
He said he had hacked, and he is hacking. Is hacking. Well, he's standing there, not hacking. So this went two ways. There's the real news.
I mean, I could play devil's advocate for a second and say, like, okay, maybe he's figuring some stuff out in his brain just thinking about it. Like, I could be writing an essay technically in my head right now. I could be starting the first couple paragraphs of what I want to write when I get home.
You never know.
I could be writing. I
could be cracking the code in my head.
Right
now.
Yeah.
And he apparently spoke for hours and hours. There is some wonderful clips on there, but it went one of two ways, and it depends on how you understand information. If you trust the lying mainstream media, then the experts at Dominion simply pointed out, our devices don't have modems.
That's amazing.
Or you can trust the alt-right media that tells you the truth. And he, on stand, just like Tony Stark in Iron Man 2, hacked into their systems live.
God. Are you serious?
And started screwing with the numbers. Haha, look at your numbers change. This whole thing's a fraud.
But hold on, was he able to make numbers change on the screen? No, okay.
None of that happened. None of it happened.
To be fair, he does look like he's pushed a QCat inside himself. When you look at a picture of him.
So about a couple of weeks ago, Dominion decided to sue Rudy Giuliani because as a part of their testimony and their attack on Dominion, they completely undermined the stock. This is a company. It's not a service. It's a company. And if you claim that you can hack into a company's primary software, like security software, and you can't, you're going to get sued.
Right.
Rightfully so.
Rightfully so. So he's been attached. He's probably never going to have to actually pay any money. A lot of people are attached to this. Rudy Giuliani's the one who's probably going to get really screwed by it. But he's attached to this $2.7 billion lawsuit.
Jesus.
Yeah.
How'd they come up with that number? That's huge.
That's the hit that the lies took on their stocks.
Yeah, because when I read that, I was like, they're being really. Are they they're going in high and then they'll meet in the middle somewhere? But it was actually genuinely because that's how much money they lost in value.
Yeah. Only within a few weeks, and it's just because of these people saying things, not proving anything, not anything that actually happened.
Right.
The machines worked perfectly. We lost $2.7 billion.
Wow.
It's crazy though that like lawyers and suing people is more effective than democracy in terms of righting wrongs.
Right?
Yeah, it's so crazy.
Welcome to the States.
So while Jovan has the money from his patents, we know at least one.
How much
patent,
money does he have? Do you know?
Unknown, millions of dollars.
He does have millions of dollars.
He does have millions of dollars. It's unknown how much. He won't tell you. And it's unknown how many patents he has. He claims 100.
Tens of millions, but he won't tell you which.
Yeah, tens of millions.
I have so many.
But he has at least one, and that one will keep him rich for the rest of his life.
That's
even
the
if
scanning code thing.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. So even if they lose and he lost every dollar he had right now,
he'll be fine.
He'll be fine.
Yeah.
What he is doing instead at the moment to raise additional money and to try to clear his name is...
Yeah, this is amazing.
These kinds of wonderful
watch a video.
So we're watching a video. This is from his YouTube channel, and this is his latest venture.
I'm going to show you where to find all these stones. Now, tonight is going to be a combination of documents, videos, discussions, etc. I'm going to try to pace it out. There's no way I can teach you everything. But the reason I did this is because starting at the first of the year, in answering everybody's calls, we've decided to basically try to teach everybody we can about this, and we'll be doing an official course where you can do it. So I'm going to share my screen with you. I want to share a few things so you understand what's going to go on. Tonight, you're going to see some close-ups like this. These are emeralds. We're going to go through emeralds, diamonds, sapphires, mineral finds, gold, etc. Okay? And I'm going to teach you the variations that you need to know to understand them. I have some free gifts for you. I'll put up a download link. When I do that, I'll do a little break because everybody will want to write it down, right? And I don't want to have anybody miss any particular point, right? And if you have questions or if you're available, maybe I'll send you a link. You can join me right in the show. But let me show you some of the things I'm going to share with you this evening, if that's okay. Okay, number one, let's go here. Boom. Okay, you are going to be able to get a copy tonight. I'm going to send you a download link. And the download link is basically everything you need to know about gemstones.
Do you like the complete sets of things he's bought behind him?
He's bought a lot of books, or he's been to a library and not taken them back.
I'm a big fan of the framed photo of Akhenaten. Every historian has that.
So, yeah, he's basically got a YouTube channel where he's now talking about election fraud, spreading QAnon conspiracies, and trying to sell you a book about gemstones.
About gemstones, yeah.
This is it's an interesting career turn to go from tech kind of like founder and entrepreneur to treasure hunter and commander of Treasure
to TV
Force.
Star and historian expert.
Historian expert. To... then gemstone peddler, conspiracy theorist, and essentially political stooge, maybe?
It's stooge. I think stooge is quite possibly the best word you could ever use for this man.
Yeah. I still can't of all the things that have been said tonight, I'm still trying to visualize Martians shipping Egypt.
It's Stargate. Come on.
Oh, right. Oh, sorry. What am I thinking? Yeah.
They took it there piece by piece through a tunnel.
Of course.
Yeah.
Star tunnel. Well, is there anything else we need to know? Because this has been mind blowing. It's one of those ones where you kind
We're going to get a phone call from him 3 times a day for the next 3 weeks.
If he starts calling, we should let him be a guest. And
oh my God,
let
of
him
course.
say a piece for everyone to.
But we won't be able to get a word in. He'll just talk and talk. I'm
yeah,
sure.
No,
if it's anything like what we just watched in his YouTube video,
I'll just edit it so he says something else. It's fine. That's what, if that's what they do.
Just let him talk for 8 hours, enough that you can get like a really good like selection of his lexicon,
Right.
and have him Rickroll. Just edit into a Rickroll.
Yeah. Or a Jovan soundboard.
Auto-tuned. Yeah.
Exactly.
So that's where we're currently at. He is a part of the American insurrection legal side.
Wow.
And who knows what we'll do next? Thanks for updating us on Jovan's life.
Yeah, that was an amazing roller coaster of a ride. Holy crap.
If I have to suffer with the knowledge that this man exists, you do too.
Thank you for offloading onto
Yes, thank you so much.
Thank you very much.
Oh my God.
But also kind of think that like, what will he do next? That's my question. Where can you go from there, from such a diverse career?
Right, and my belief is that he's going to attempt to ingratiate himself onto Elon Musk and get into space so that he can finally get to Mars and prove.
Find the Egypt-shaped hole.
Finally.
Yeah.
Finally.
Exactly. God.
It'll happen. He's going to die happy on Mars. Or at least he'll die on Mars and he won't
He
be
won't
our
be
problem.
the only one happy that he's dying on Mars.
Do you know about that person who signed up for that one-way mission to Mars and they didn't tell their wife?
Yes.
And then they found out when they published the list, and you're like, we weren't going to talk about this. It's like awkward.
It's my life to throw away.
Exactly.
Being launched to Mars.
Oh my God.
Exactly.
Being the first civilization on Mars would be A, such an incredible honor, and B, such an incredibly torturous experience.
Yeah.
Oh my God. I can't even.
Right? Pooping into a bag, and then within a couple of weeks, you're eating that poop.
I mean, that's just a typical Thursday for
Bags of poop. Yep. I've got a dog, so actually it's not that far from the truth. Mikaela, where can people find your kind of prolific work? Because you're doing podcasts, you got your journalism, you're on Twitter.
So you can usually find me hanging around Twitter unless I've gotten banned again. At the moment, it's Mickey Here Ego. Here Ego is my company where I put all of my stuff. It's also available. My content is available at patreon.com/hereego. I am working on a website. I'm slow. But yeah, come enjoy my stuff until it has been blocked because I tend to get into fights with crazy people.
sweet.
Crazy people with lawyers.
Crazy people with resources.
Yeah.
Exactly. This has been awesome. Thank you so much.
Yeah, thanks so much.
Thank you so much.